Hello and welcome. Discussions surrounding transgender ideology become increasingly acrimonious, while the psyop turned toxic mental malaise spreads like a virus. As the limp-wristed left raucously trumpets woke gibberish of inclusivity and diversity amidst a never-ending diatribe of rainbow mafia verbiage, the sedition of their applied psychology becomes better understood in the wider community. The LGBTQ+ community is at the forefront of this calculated assault on normality, with vulnerable children increasingly exposed to unacceptably lewd and pornographic material in schools. The illogical concept of gender identity infers that an individual's false interpretation of their gender is enough to change the sex biologically assigned at birth. This blatant absurdity challenges normality, which is its primary purpose, being yet another writhing tentacle of globalism's calculated division. But this social sabotage is also designed to destabilise, dehumanise and demoralise, to destroy the nuclear family. It incites heated disagreements about personal autonomy, human rights and social justice, all of which have nothing to do with self-delusion. Transgender claimants voluntarily invite challenges into their lives, including healthcare access, legal recognition, employment opportunities, and social acceptance. It goes with the territory. Increasingly strident advocacy efforts by delusional activists and woke organisations are used as an excuse to deepen resentment, demanding the removal of what they term discriminatory barriers, which is deceptive woke speech for altering reality to suit a covert agenda of promoting transhumanism. They belligerently demand acknowledging and respecting the chosen identities of transgender individuals to create what they call a more inclusive environment that values, here we go again, diversity. Accepting such an abhorrent inversion of truth is impossible for critical thinkers. It's vehemently rejected because no amount of hysterical shrieking will induce endorsing lies. Neither will we indulge the lunacy of preferred pronouns to avoid non-existent offence. There is no deliberate offence, so if they choose to take offence that doesn't exist, well, that's their choice, but they can equally and far more sensibly choose not to. Life isn't about what happens to you, but how you respond. So they should choose not to be offended. Spouting the duplicitous nonsense that embracing transgender rights doesn't undermine or threaten anyone else's rights or beliefs, while simultaneously permitting biological males to perversely access female toilets and unfairly compete in women's sports, is hypocrisy on steroids. Another spurious claim is that these egregious actions create an opportunity for all individuals to live authentically without fear of discrimination or marginalisation. More woke buzzwords to cover the covert aim of eradicating spirituality. They demand respect for so-called transgender ideology and rights that must be accorded empathy and open-mindedness, while blithely ignoring the fact that mental illness has no rights other than entitlement to psychotherapy. They complain of enduring an inequitable world if a fictitious gender identity isn't respected without prejudice or bias. which in plain English means coerced agreement with obvious falsity. The debate surrounding biology and gender identity was never a topic of interest or controversy throughout all of medical history. Nevertheless, it recently emerged as yet another globalist psyop, along with climate boiling and all the rest of their overt sedition. Promoting the cretinous idiocy of transgenderism plays a crucial role in camouflaging subversive agitation designed to convince the public that it's something it manifestly is not. Simple biology determines everyone's gender, exclusively defined by the physical attributes assigned at birth. The illogical supposition of gender as a social construct is an absurdity unworthy of serious discussion, but has managed to invade social discourse for unspeakably evil purposes. Transgender activists deludedly claim an imaginary relationship between biological factors and the development of gender identity, which is shifty language contrived to exacerbate more division. Another ludicrous assertion is of neurobiological differences between individuals who identify as transgender and those who do not. According to this principle, simply subscribing to the self-delusion suddenly alters physical reality. There's no such thing as biological underpinnings to gender dysphoria, or the notion that gender is a matter of personal choice or social influence. Gender is binary and nothing more, but they disingenuously claim the transgender issue cannot be reduced solely to biological factors, when the irrefutable fact is it's nothing but. The woke notion that human experiences are multifaceted and that each person's journey toward self-discovery deserves respect, compassion, and support. Well, that may sound authentic to the uneducated, but is in fact a psyop. Transgenderism is primarily to deepen division and fan the flames of the biology versus gender identity debate. More deception introduces nature and nurture aspects for promoting inclusivity while promoting societal acceptance for individuals exploring their delusional selves. Transgender declared entitlements regarding bathroom access and the crass inclusion of transgender athletes in sports organisations spark intense arguments. Such debates unfold within the educational sphere, especially within schools, universities and sports organisations, where woke imbeciles support its abject nonsense. They argue for more inclusive policies to ensure equal rights and opportunities for transgender individuals, again conveniently ignoring the fact that they have the same rights as everyone else and are not deserving of special treatment based on self-delusion. Discussions surrounding transgender ideology and its brutal clash with feminism are increasingly prominent. While both movements advocate for equality and inclusivity, arguments arise concerning free speech and political debates over legislation about gender identity rights. Once again, no special rights are accorded the mentally deranged. Transgender critics assert that a pull-your-pants-down physical gender display puts an abrupt end to the charade. But as with climate boiling buffoonery, demonstrable truth and incontestable evidence must not be allowed to enter the equation. The idiotically contrived notion of gender as a social construct empowers disruptive stereotypes and reinforces deviant power dynamics, that have nothing whatsoever to do with transgenderism's cover story. Activists contend that accepting transgender identities must be based on self-identification alone, with insane disregard for undeniable physical differences. Mentally derailed activists also argue that criticizing or questioning transgender ideology is transphobic hate speech, which is nothing more than an underhanded ruse to stifle an argument that they can never win. Censoring discussions surrounding gender identity rights undermines the principles upon which democracy thrives. It ensures the obliteration of freedom of expression and informed debate. A public discussion is something they will avoid at all costs, in the same cowardly manner as the climate boiling brigade flee in pants-wetting panic at the prospect of an informed debate. Political battles over legislation regarding gender identity rights add fuel to the fire that a healthy dose of cold, hard truth would permanently extinguish. As lawmakers manipulate the protection of transgender individuals' rights, demonstrating utter contempt for privacy concerns or safeguarding spaces designated for women, tensions inflame as an integral part of the controlled demolition of society. They aggressively demand empathy, understanding, and respect for diverse viewpoints, while exhibiting contempt for opposing opinions that are attacked as hate speech or transphobia. Constructive dialogue could potentially bridge gaps between different perspectives, wherein all individuals' rights are upheld, but it's simply not possible to hold constructive dialogue with delusional fanatics, especially biological males mincing around in ladies' underwear. The criterion for accepting transgender ideology requires a deluded mind incurably brainwashed by the rainbow mafia's perverted influence. It presents a slippery slope towards transhumanism, which is the next phase of this satanic program. Gender is not and can never be an ideology. It is an inarguable matter of biological certainty. However, facts are irrelevant to the architects of societal fragmentation in their agenda of dividing communities. Socially engineered division manifests its repercussions through intensified propaganda, deception, and the militant promotion of false and misleading agendas. Subsequently, many find themselves caught in the crossfire of alleged prejudice and discrimination, affecting their mental well-being and self-esteem. The toll on mental health resulting from coercion to conform to woke expectations is a poignant reminder of the human cost of societal division. Fragmented societies endure the erosion of social cohesion, underscored by ever-mounting tensions and strife. The rise of confrontationally absurd ideologies like transgenderism and the incremental demolition of common sense are palpable consequences, but there's a far more sinister aspect to this malevolent psyop that I'll detail in a later report. In closing, as covered in a recent video, the above conveniently distracts attention from the ominous rollout of CBDCs and digital IDs. You must all be watchful. Thank you for watching.